Okay, and we are now live. So we'll give just a couple minutes for people to see and join. This is always the most exciting part of the live stream.
Absolutely.
is waiting for people to join.
Yeah.
Well, welcome as people join. Our comment section is going to be open throughout the evening, so feel free if you have any questions or comments about anything that we go over tonight, just drop it in there and we will address it as soon as we can. Okay. Okie dokie. So, welcome to Aethereal Jest's live stream announcement of our 25-26 season. I am thoroughly excited for this. This will be the third full season for Aethereal Jest. It's hard to believe that we are at our third season already. So, I want to introduce myself. My name is Brian Palmer. I am the executive director for Aethereal Jest. And then this is Ellie Hainick. She is our performing arts coordinator. Excuse me, that was so rude. So Ellie has been an absolute amazing addition to our team. She has led the entire process. So she's chair of our season planning committee and our script review committees. And so with her and her committee members, they have put together the slate of shows for this season. And I, for one, am very excited for these shows. Some of them I have worked on in the past myself, and I'm super excited for us to get to put our own Ethereal Just twist on, as well as some that I haven't worked on, but just sound really interesting and really exciting. And so next season is also going to be a little bit bigger than our last two seasons as well. Before we get started actually announcing any of next season's shows, Ellie, is there anything overall you'd like to say or comment?
Just that a deadline to submit director applications is March 31st. So if anyone is interested in directing any of the shows, please fill out those applications. We're super excited to hear your visions for those shows.
Yeah. After the live stream is over tonight, then the director application will go live on the website, and we'll put the link up on the screen when we get there. Okay, great. So without further ado, happy to see that you're there, Mark and Erica. Welcome. Super excited to hear your guys' opinions on the shows for next season. So we are going to go ahead and get started. And so the way that we do things around Ethereal Jest is we break our shows up into three different stages. So we have our main stage, which is where our biggest, our most complicated, and also usually most well-known shows go on the main stage. And then next after that is our experimental stage. This is where we're going to do things that are going to be done a little differently, or we're trying out new stuff. We're really trying to flesh out our skills and abilities on those programs. And then finally, we have our outreach programs. These are ways that we can better connect with our community and help to focus the talents of our community on the bigger stage as well. So we're going to start tonight with our main stage productions. We do have 4 main stage productions for next season. We break them into what we call our community theater and our family theater. So community theater is going to be more like PG-13 type stuff. So in our 24-25 season, that would have been The Importance of Being Earnest, and then our upcoming production of Macbeth. And then we also do what we call our family theater shows. These are going to be more PG rated. So for our 24-25 season, that would have been Anne of Green Gables, and then our current production of The Reluctant Dragon, which, if you haven't seen it, you should. It runs this weekend as well. Information is on our website. So our very first main stage production that we're doing, which will take place at the end of August 2025, is Community Theater Triple Feature Volume 2. So if you have been around Ethereal Jest for a while, you will know that our very first fully staged production that we ever did was Community Theater Triple Feature Volume 1. And that would have been back into March, beginning of April of 2023. So we're bringing Volume 2 back. And the way this works is it is 3 one-act plays that we do back to back. And we like to do it what we call a drama sandwich. So the first one act is a comedy, the second one is a drama, and then the third one is a comedy. And this gives us a nice range of projects to work on. We also do what we call a director training academy along with it. So if you've never tried your hand at directing before, or if you've only directed maybe 1 or 2 times and you're still not fully comfortable, then you could apply to be one of our directors in training, where we'd give 1 director in training each of the 1 acts. And then there's a mentor director that will work alongside them the entire way from auditions through strike. So that way there's a nice safety net to try out being a director. Because I can tell you from personal experience, there's the biggest chunk of the job as a director you never see in rehearsal. It's all done outside. So it's nice to be able to do something like this to try it out before really diving in the deep end. So with our 3 1-acts, the first one we're doing is called Take 5. This play is about a community theater getting ready to put on a show. And they think it's the final dress rehearsal, but it turns out it's actually opening night. And there's an audience already in the house that they didn't know was there. And then that just starts the ball rolling with everything going wrong. And part of the set falls down and some of the actors are missing. And it's just an absolute crazy slapstick situation. So then after that, then we'll be transitioning into our second 1-act, which this is our drama. It's called The Girl in the Mirror. Now this show, it's a very intense show. It deals with teen suicide, and the main character, Susan, at the beginning of the 1-act, she is in a coma from an attempted, and is visited by a speaker character who helps her travel back in her life to see the different things that brought her up to that decision point, and then takes her into the future to see some of the consequences based on her choice. And then at the end of it, the audience is left to decide what Susan does. Like I said, it's a very intense show, but it serves as a nice discussion point to talk about some of these topics. We do intend to have resources available at the performances because it is such a heavy topic. Then to round out the evening and bring us back into the light side, we'll be finishing off with Wes Hilton's A Twinkie a Day. Now, Wes is a local playwright, and this play is honestly one of my favorites. It's a love letter to like X-Files and other 90s sci-fi shows. The basic story is you have 2 college professors who accidentally start the zombie apocalypse and then have to undo it. So there's lots of really fun parts in it. Again, it's a very slapstick show. Lots and lots of opportunity for comedy. So the 3 of those together create our first show of main stage show of the season, Community Theater Triple Feature Volume 2. So then our second main stage show of the year will be in November of 2025, and we will be doing Fools by Neil Simon. Now, I'm sure most of you are familiar with Neil Simon as a playwright. He's a very well-known playwright, but Fools isn't one of his most well-known shows. Now, it does have a very soft spot for me personally. I absolutely love this show. It's set in Ukraine, and it starts with a local school teacher who has been hired by the doctor in town to educate his 19-year-old daughter. Along the way, the teacher and the daughter, Sophia, end up falling in love, but he then finds out that the entire village is cursed to be stupid. And if he stays within the village for too long, then he will also become or fall under the curse and become stupid. So again, there's a lot of comedy, a lot of witty wordplay, a lot of slapstick as well. All the characters in the show are relatively meaty and give a lot of really good opportunity for some really good comedy. So then moving into 2026, our next full main stage show is going to be one of our first family theater shows. And in specific, it's going to be our first ever teen theater show. And that will be Wyatt York's adaptation of, I believe it's Jerry Spinelli's Stargirl. Now, when I say a teen show, the idea here is that it will be directed, designed, and performed by middle school and high school kids. So if you know a high schooler who either already has some experience and enjoys directing or would like some experience directing, this is definitely a project for them. The way this will work is that the teen director, teen designers will have adult mentors working alongside them to help them complete this project. And then the storyline itself, it's all about being yourself. Stargirl comes to this average high school, and she's weird and she's unique and she's herself. And the whole story follows Leo, who is one of the classmates, as he tries to balance his friendship with Stargirl and his desire to remain popular, and how those two conflict, and how he can deal with the consequences of his actions as he moves through the story. And then our final main stage show for the season, again, it's another one of our family shows. It's called Sherlock Holmes and the First Baker Street Irregular. First time I read this show, I was absolutely blown away. It is fantastic. It centers around Sherlock Holmes, who most of us are aware of. But the main character, her name is Wiggins. She's a 15-year-old street urchin who has an entire group of street urchins that she takes care of as young as 5. And the entire group ends up making an arrangement with Sherlock Holmes to become detectives in training. And so these kids end up helping Sherlock Holmes solve, I think it's 4 of his major cases, one of which, the League of Red-Headed Gentlemen, is one of my favorite Sherlock Holmes stories, and it's one of the cases that the kids help with. So at this point, what I'd like to do is I'm going to bring, we have Ellie and Kate here, who you met Ellie before. Kate is one of our, she's an actor who's performed with us, 3 times now? Yeah, so she was in The Somewhat True Tale of Robin Hood, played Little John, and then Anne of Green Gables back in the fall. You were Rachel Lind. Mm-hmm. Yes, Rachel Lind. And then she's actually in our current production of Reluctant Dragon. She is the dragon. And when we did the 48-hour play festival, she also mainly wrote the short play that we did. So now that we've mentioned our 4 main stage shows, are there any thoughts that either Ellie or Kate, you guys have about those, or anyone who's watching in the audience as well? Just toss your comments or questions in the comment section, and we will address them.
I will just say I'm super excited about the opportunities we have this season or this upcoming season for kids and teens. Sherlock Holmes has a lot of kids roles, and Stargirl, of course, is going to be our teen show. So if anyone knows any middle school, high schoolers who are interested in maybe becoming a part of theater or don't have as much experience as some of us seasoned adults, um, it's definitely something that it should be considered because we're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Kate?
Very loud, weird audio things happening over here. But also very excited for the opportunities that we're going to have this season. And I've actually never gotten to like read or see Stargirl, so I'm very excited to maybe be in it, see it. Very excited to actually see it for the first time. It's a work that I've never gotten, that I've heard a lot about, that I've just never personally been able to like see a production of, have a chance to read. So that's like I always love seeing new things that I've never like personally dealt with before.
I will definitely say that for me, pretty much all of the shows for next season, at least the main stage ones, they were ones that as soon as I started reading them, I couldn't put them down. Both Stargirl and Sherlock Holmes and the first Baker Street Irregular were very much ones that I could not put down and just read straight through and got lost in the story and was emotionally affected by the characters. So I am very, very excited for those. So we have a question from Erica. Says, where will these productions perform? That's a fantastic question. Community Theater Triple Feature, which, like I said, will take place at the end of August. That one will perform at Mad Lab. And then Fools, which will be in November, also will be at Mad Lab. Stargirl will also be at Mad Lab. And then we will be back to our home in the shed at CPAC for Sherlock Holmes in May of 26. Stacy shared that she's excited for Sherlock and knows a young theater fan. Stacy and her daughter Aubrey were a part of Anne of Green Gables. So if you saw that, Aubrey was Minnie May, and she was also in Ethereal Christmas that we did. An absolutely wonderful young actor. Would be very excited to get to work with her again. So we have Mark Anthony Tomsick, who is currently playing St. George in The Reluctant Dragon. Said that sounds like a lot of fun and like that we bring attention to some lesser known plays. That is definitely one of the things that our season planning committee keeps in mind, is that we have witnessed that there's a trend for a bunch of theater companies to all do the same show within a short amount of time. And so we do work really hard to try to find stuff that has some name recognition, that, like with Sherlock Holmes in the first Baker Street Irregular, although you may not know that specific story, you are at least familiar with the character of Sherlock Holmes. So it's a nice, and like with last season, we did Little Women of Orchard House. That again, these are like different takes on stories that we know, as a way to more easily introduce audiences into newer stories or ones that may not have been told as often. Cool. We have Chris Makar here, who we love, love, love Chris. Okay, so at this point, we're going to move over to our next stage, which is our experimental stage. And Ellie is going to do the pleasure of introducing those shows for us. And then we'll join back again for another joint conversation. Oh, there we go. And
Awesome. Hi, everyone. For those who just tuned in, my name is Ellie. I'm the Performing Arts Coordinator at Ethereal Jest. I'm super excited for the experimental stage this season. Definitely what I'm most excited about is just the idea of doing something a little different. So we are excited to start our experimental stage with The Tempest. It's William Shakespeare's The Tempest. This will run July 11th to July 20th of 2025. So this upcoming July, at the Shed Stage at the Columbus Performing Arts Center. It is a very classic Shakespeare show. Has magic, royalty, classic characters like Prospero. And it will run July 10th, I'm sorry, to July 20th. And this is a really good time to point out that when you're applying to direct, what we are looking for is a unique vision or concept. We're currently doing Macbeth. We're about to start rehearsals for it, and it's going to take place in a cyberpunk future, and we're really excited about that. But that kind of unique concept is what we are looking for when you apply to direct. So if you are interested in applying to direct The Tempest, it is definitely something we're looking for, and something that if you have a unique idea, please tell us. Yeah. And then our second experimental show is going to be Ethereal Christmas 2025. There's a lot of wiggle room on this one. The format is still under development, and if you are interested in maybe coming up with a concept or something different than what we did this year, please apply to direct. We would absolutely love to have you. The venue is also up in the air, so it could really be a bunch of different things. This year we did a 1930s to 1940s radio show. And it was super fun. We had a great time doing it, but we are also thinking about changing it up a little bit this year. So if anyone has ideas, let us know. Our next show is another one that we did this year as well, which is the 48-Hour Play Festival. This is a collaborative event. It is across, I believe this year we had 5 different theater companies come together, and each spent 48 hours writing and directing and rehearsing a 20 to 30 minute play. And we held it in the Van Fleet Theater at the Columbus Performing Arts Center. This year it was towards the end of January. Next year will be January 23rd to 25th, 2026. And it's going to be really fun. We had a really great turnout this year. So we do need also a leader. So that's also something you can apply to direct for. And yeah, our final show, experimental show of the 2025-2026 season is called Love Song. Love Song is going to run March 27th to 29th of 2026 in the Shed Stage at the Columbus Performing Arts Center. It follows the story of a couple in 2 stages of their life. So 4 people play the same 2 people. They have a couple in their 20s and a couple in their 60s, and it jumps around to different it jumps around timelines. They call the younger version of the female character in the couple Maggie, and the older couple version Margaret, and then the older version of the male person in the couple is William, and the younger character is Billy. And it's really interesting because like Billy will have some scenes with Margaret and vice versa. So it's a really interesting concept. It's definitely what I'm most excited for this season. It's a very heartwarming story, and I'm just so excited for it. So that is all of our experimental shows this season. I'm really excited. Yeah.
Yeah. As you were going through those, we did have a couple comments. Excuse me. Erica said she likes the idea of fun holiday shorts when it comes to Ethereal Christmas. That is, we've talked about a number of different concepts to go with it. One would be kind of like a Carol Burnett show style, where it's a bunch of little like 5 to 10 minute skits interspersed with maybe some songs and music. We've also talked about doing kind of the old traditional style holiday specials that like are set in someone's home, and then different guests drop by. We've talked about incorporating a drag queen into the holiday special. I personally would love to see puppets show up somewhere. I'm a huge fan of puppets. So with that project specifically, there is a lot of leeway, a lot of creativity. So for whoever would be interested in potentially directing that production, you would have a lot of flexibility in helping to build what that is ultimately. When we talked about, or when Ellie, you were talking about the 48 hour, we had a couple comments come in. Amy mentioned she was excited to see the 48 hour Playfest coming back. Erica, who was on the Ethereal Jest team last year, said it was such a blast and so funny with so much talent. Chris also said excited to have the 48 hour show again. It's great to see so many theater friends at one time. I will say that was one thing I enjoyed the most out of the 48 hour last year was the collaboration between the 5 different organizations. Because it's not often that we get to work together on something. So getting to celebrate and share our talents together in one space at one time was honestly probably one of the highlights of my year this season. Kate, as someone who wrote our contribution to the 48 hour, can you speak a little bit about what it was like this year?
Yeah, it was lots of fun. It was so crazy. There was so much there's like a lot more freedom than I'm used to in like the 24 or 48 hour fest, because it was just like, yeah, get something written. Doesn't have to be and it was I loved that, because I never get the chance to, like, if you let a writer like do whatever they want, first of all, good for you. That's very brave. But it was a lot of fun, because I got to be very collaborative with everybody. We got to sit in a room and be like, okay, I'm not doing this completely by myself. I signed up to write, but like, let's make some decisions. Like, let's do, like, do we want something funny? Do we want something sad? Do we, like, where do we want to set it? It was cool to have that conversation with everybody this year, and I'm sure it could go the same or differently in the future, but it's a fun, it's always a fun thing to do, to create something brand new overnight.
Erica commented that, Kate, you totally rocked that script.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, I will say that for me, the idea for the 48 hour play festival moving forward, I would love to see every theater company in town participate. I would love to make it a 2-weekend event where the first weekend is when all the groups create their submissions, and then the next weekend we spend Friday night, all day Saturday, and Sunday afternoon just demonstrating what all the groups different created, and turn it into an actual like weekend-long festival. I think that would be just so much fun. So for those groups out there who weren't able to be a part this year, just because we had a total of 5 groups doesn't mean there's a limit to the number of groups who can participate. We will put out some information later, as we get closer to the spring, about how groups can sign up to participate for next year, so we can start making plans. And again, the idea is just to limit it to 1 weekend. See what can you create with this time limit. And all the groups this year created some of the funniest skits I have ever seen. Just a lot of creativity, a lot of talent. It was super fun. Going back just a step to the Ethereal Christmas, Erica had commented, what about a holiday short competition where local folks write short plays? I do agree. We have a lot of great local writers. I think that definitely would be a possibility of maybe having some local playwrights submit like shorter, like 5 to 10 minute, maybe 1-act plays, and just do kind of a festival type celebration of local writing. I think that definitely could be a feasible opportunity. And then bouncing off of what Ellie was saying with Love Song, that's another show that I am absolutely super excited to do. It was written by Abby Morgan, who is a playwright. She also writes for television and film. She has written The Split, River, Suffragette, that came out in 2015. She's known for Sex Traffic and film. Oh, she wrote The Iron Lady with Meryl Streep. So she's a phenomenal writer. As far as I'm aware, this play has not been performed. I'm fairly positive in Columbus, but I don't even think it's been performed in Ohio before. So I will have to do more research before I can officially proclaim, but I believe that that will be a regional premiere. And again, like Ellie was saying, the story, it's so beautiful. Getting to see how a relationship changes from your 20s to your 60s. And in a lot of ways, as you read the script, it almost feels like it's more of a ballet than a play, even though there's no real dance in it. But just the way Abby has woven the two timelines together, it's just absolutely beautiful. And I cannot wait to see a talented director take it with an extremely talented cast to see just the breathtaking story that can be. And it's also, how many opportunities as actors do you get to have, like, two actors in their 20s work intimately with two actors in their 60s? The only other play I can think of that does something similar would be Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And these are two very different experiences. So it would be a great opportunity for the younger actors to get to learn from the experience of the older actors, and then for the older actors to be reinvigorated by the energy of the younger cast members as well. So I think that's just a phenomenal experience that I personally cannot wait to see. Then, The Tempest as well. I am just so excited. I already have heard from a couple directors who are interested in that show. That will be very, very exciting to see what they have in mind to do with it. Now, I do want to point out to everybody involved that that show is performing in mid-July, which means auditions are coming up at the end of April. So we're like 2 months away from auditions for Tempest. So being Shakespeare, I'm sure that means that part of the audition process will be doing Shakespeare monologues. So if you've not done one before, there's plenty of time to start thinking about what you might do for auditions. As Ellie also said, the story does include a lot of magic. So depending on the concept, it could have some really good, fun opportunities, for actors that we don't really get to do a lot. I mean, it's set on a jungle island after a shipwreck with magic and storms and just absolutely crazy. I just, again, very excited. Very excited. Yes, Kate.
I'm also very excited about The Tempest. A lot of the work that I've done outside of theater has been with the Shakespeare and Autism program at Ohio State. And this is creating sensory drama games for children and adults on the spectrum. And all of that work was based on The Tempest. So I can say, just from having done the whole show through games, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun for all involved.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited, especially because one of my favorite directors of all time is Julie Taymor, who directed and designed the original production of The Lion King on Broadway. She also directed and designed the film version of Titus Andronicus with Sir Anthony Hopkins. And then she did the film version of The Tempest with Helen Mirren as Prospera. And it just, through her, I've gained an even greater appreciation and love for Shakespeare. Not to mention that being a 90s kid, I loved Wishbone, and Wishbone did an episode on The Tempest. So a part of me can't see it without a beagle playing Prospero. But I doubt that's the way we end up going with it. But for any Wishbone fans out there, if you haven't seen it, check on YouTube and see if you can find the Wishbone version of the Tempest. It'll give you a really good idea of what the story is. Cool. Okay, so our last section of projects we have for next season is what we call our outreach productions. Now, our outreach productions, these are places where the public, the community gets to have a bigger say and a bigger involvement in how the projects work and the overall success of the programs themselves. So our very first outreach program for the next season is what we call our Fair and Festival production. So what we do is we go around to, like last year we performed at the Columbus Arts Festival, we performed at ComFest, and we performed at the Pickerington Wizard Fair. And we're planning to, if we are invited, to do those 3 again, as well as any other fairs and festivals through the summer that we can be a part of. And the way that we're working that this year is we're putting together our first ever improvisational theater troupe. So if you have any experience or you enjoy doing improv, we will have more information coming up in the next month on how to be a part of that. And the way that will work is we're hoping to put together a troupe of probably about 12 to 20 people. And we'll do rehearsals to flex out our improv skills. But then as we're invited to different fairs and festivals through the summer, about 8 to 10 of the members will go to each one and then perform theater games and do short theater story or improv stories with the public at the fairs and festivals. So I'm very excited to see how that works and what we can do with improv. Our second outreach project is called Storytime Live. We're hoping to do that in the fall of 2025. The way this works is we will put out some information where we will want kids from throughout Franklin County and the surrounding area to write us short stories. They could be a paragraph long, they could be a couple pages long. And by kids, I mean, as long as they're old enough to tell a story and have an adult write it down for them, that counts. The kid doesn't have to be the one to actually put pen to paper to record the story. But if you have a kid up to age 18, so through high school age, who can come up with really fun, interesting, creative short stories, and they would send those to us, and then our Storytime Live team will take those stories and convert them into Saturday Night Live style skits. And then we plan to do a library tour around Franklin County that would be free for the public to be able to come and see how these stories from our local youth have been converted into short comedy skits. We did a program similar to this when I was in high school. And again, it was one of my favorite projects we did each year. And getting to see a little kid see a story that they came up with, then be performed live in front of them is just absolutely amazing. And it's a great way to show kids, one, that every movie they see, every play they watch starts as a story. Someone told a story to someone else, and then it grew and developed into something bigger. But outside of that there's more to performance than just performing. So if you're someone who doesn't want to get up in front of an audience, another way you can be a part is by helping to write the stories that the actors perform. So again, this is a project I'm extremely excited for this coming fall. Now, after the Storytime Live, we're looking to do our first ever staged reading festival. And in the next week, I will be putting out a call for submissions. And these can be anywhere from 5-minute plays to full-length plays. And the only requirement is that the playwright has gotten to a point in their process where they really could use hearing someone else say their words. The point of a staged reading is so the playwright can hear their words being read back to them, so that way they can identify places that still need work, that still need development, that still need attention to get them closer to a draft that's ready to be fully staged and fully performed. So like I said, in the next week or so, we will have a call for submissions for that. And our intention is to have like 2 or 3 established local playwrights in attendance to be able to provide feedback to on these works, in addition to just general feedback from the audience as well. So that's 3. Our 4th outreach project for next year will be in April of 26, and that's our first ever improvisational theater festival. Now, that's as much as I know about it right now. So it's still in full development of what it actually is, how it will actually work, all the details. So that's another one that if you have experience and knowledge of improv theater and you want to be a part of helping to shape and develop this festival into whatever it ends up being, by all means, please reach out. Everything we do here at Aethereal Jest is all about collaboration. We love to get as many people in, as many people in, and as many people as involved as we can, because that's how we end up with the best end products, is by having the most ideas. Okay, so that wraps up our 4 outreach projects, and that also wraps up our entire season offerings for 25-26. It is a total of 12 projects next year, so it's a lot going on. We have pretty much something going on every month throughout next year. It is a huge undertaking. I am very, very excited, but that just means that there are lots and lots and lots and lots of opportunities for the public to get involved with us and with what we're working on. What thoughts or comments, Ellie or Kate, do you guys have on any of our outreach projects?
As someone who's a huge fan of Saturday Night Live, that short story thing, I'm so excited. That sounds like so much fun. And also, just like from children that I know in my own family, like the stories that they will tell you, just unmatched. Yeah. Unmatched in creativity and nonsense.
And the nice thing about all these projects is that, especially like with this one in particular, it's the first time we're doing it, but there's no telling where that goes. Like that could become an entire year-long project of its own, that we could be doing it like every quarter, do another tour. So it really depends on who gets involved and where the ideas flow and how well it's accepted by the public as to where it could grow from here. So Stacy said that she thinks that will be hilarious. Storytime, I agree. Kids have just some of the most crazy imaginations, and they come up with the craziest storylines. Yeah. Chris also mentioned she loves the outreach ideas, as did Erica. Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions? Not just about the outreach, but the season as a whole?
Toby Foley on the comment section asked if there would be a post to recap all the announced shows for people who missed the live stream. I believe there will be. It will also be on our website.
Yes. Yeah, I will actually. So we have a page on the website under events. If you hold there, a tab will come down and it says 25-26 season. I'm actually going to embed this live stream at the top of that page. And then I'm going to include synopses of each of the projects. And that's also where you'll find the director application for next season. And for those who want to be involved behind the scenes, although you may not want to direct, but if you're interested in maybe stage managing or helping out in one of the design elements like lights, sound, costumes, props, you can always just drop in an email at info@etherealjust, letting us know in what areas you want to be involved, and also what experience you have in those areas. And then we can connect you with one of our staff designers. Like we have Travis Williams, who is our scenic coordinator. We have Jamie Levitt, who is our props coordinator, and Amy Grossclose, who is our costume coordinator. That we can get you in touch with one of those individuals, and they can help find a way to get you involved. Like I said before, we're all about collaboration. We're all about trying to get as many people involved in our stuff as we can. Any other questions? Well, like Ellie said at the beginning, once this live stream is concluded, we will put the director application on the website. Director applications are open until March 31st. And the way that we plan to do that is, as the applications come in, we will start interviewing people. So we're not waiting until April to start the interviews. We will be interviewing people as applications are coming in. Again, if you are interested in applying to direct The Tempest, that one is probably the show we are going to be focusing on the most to get a director assigned to it as soon as we can, because of the fact that we want to give that director time to really get their concept together, to work with their design team, to make sure that they have everything set and ready to go. So when we have auditions at the end of April, that after that we can get started right into rehearsals for The Tempest. So again, if you know anybody who would be interested in directing, please share this information with them. With that, if you guys don't have any other comments or questions, Chris did mention that to please, if you've worked with us in the past, to please consider becoming a member of Ethereal Jest. We do have our annual membership meeting coming up in May. This is where the board and staff will give our reports to show what we have accomplished in the past 12 months. We will also go over the plans for the next 12 months. And that's also where we will do board and officer elections as well. So if you want to be able to have a say in the future of Ethereal Jest and the directions that we head, please consider being a member and helping to make those decisions. With that, thank you everyone for attending. And I look forward to working with all of you guys again. And thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Kate. Have a good night. See you guys later.